Who doesn't want to go away on vacation? Join me today for 10 tips that will make your next vacation smoother. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Karina. And vacations can be exhilarating and are always necessary. And if you follow me, you will know that I tend to travel here and there quite a bit. So here are 10 tips that I have gathered that will make your next vacation hopefully smoother. And particularly if you're going abroad. Number one, I would recommend that you research and you do more research about the destination you want to go to. You can research online, videos, books. I always like to read something allegoric to the place where I'm going to be going to. And use certain apps. My favorite one for research and destinations, places to go to, what's going on around that area is Google Maps, because it takes you everywhere. It shows you already what's around the area. If there's a restaurant, a destination, an attraction, it will give you opening times. It will give you details about costs, how to get there, whether you walk, you take public transport, you drive. It gives you the route, and it will also give you an estimated amount of time. If you take trains, particularly in Asia, it will give you all the details about the train, the platform, etc. So Google Maps, I've used it well before, during my trips everywhere in the world, sometimes in remote locations. And what I can say is that I have come back. So yes, I do recommend. Number two, this is if you go abroad, please check that your passport has at least 6 months validity before it expires. Because I have seen it, I have actually witnessed it at the airport, someone being not allowed on a plane because they had less than 6 months validity on their passport. So do be careful with this. This is something easily avoidable. My rule of thumb is when it hits a year before it expires, just under a year, I renew it. Here in the US, our passports are good for 10 years. So yeah, avoid this very disheartening mistake. My next tip is to book in advance as much as possible. If you want to go to a show, if you want to have a special dinner at a restaurant, do it in advance as much as possible. Everything that you can do in advance, bookings, restaurant reservations, purchase of tickets, do in advance, because it will save you time. And it will also save you some stress, because you don't know what things are like in the other country. So if you go already prepared, it avoids a lot of stress. And speaking of stress, can we just give a shout out to Global Entry and TSA Pre? Global Entry allows you to avoid all the lines, the customs queues. You don't have to take your shoes off. You don't have to take your belt off if you're wearing one. Hopefully, if you saw my video on travel, you're not wearing a belt. If you're a man, probably need it. Yes, you just whiz through, and it's just a godsend. And also when you come back, if you have to have a connecting flight where you have to pick up your luggage to recheck it, is a whiz. You don't waste any time. There's never any queues, or if there are, they're very, very minimal, and you just go through. The thing with Global Entry, it's a little bit cumbersome to get, because you have to apply, right? You apply online, and I will leave the link below. any links of relevance I will leave in the info box below. So you apply online, and then you get a conditional approval, and then you have to go have an interview at a local airport. Interviews are not always available, and sometimes they take months. You have the opportunity, and this is the way I did it. If you go abroad and you have already applied, when you come back in, you tell the customs officer that you want to do your interview, and they do it right there on your way in. And then you'll get the card, which you'll never use in the post. All that you'll use is the number. But it's just a whiz. It costs $100 and it's good for 5 years. Brings me to the other point, number 5, I think it is. If you qualify, get one of those credit cards that, yes, do charge you sometimes quite a big steep annual fee, but they are so worth it. I have one, which is the American Express Reserve, which I will put a picture here, with Delta Airlines. I use Delta mostly for my travels, whether abroad or Asia, South America, and Europe in general. I use them. I use other airlines, but they are my main one. This card will give you access to lounges when you are at major airports. And let me tell you, once you experience an airline lounge, you never want to just go sit at the airport ever again. You always want to spend your time until you board your flight in the lounge. Cards like the Reserve also give you access to, they pay for your fee for global entry. So whenever it's your time to subscribe or renew, you pay with a card, then you get a refund. But it gives you access to, these cards give you access to lounges. I have access to the Delta Sky Club. I have access to the Centurion Club, or the Centurion Lounge, should I say, by American Express, which is, oh my God, the king of lounges, even free alcohol, free crafted cocktails. That, places you can even have a shower if you want. And if you're going to the other side of the world, these are things that you must consider. Also, yes, they do give you an annual fee. Sometimes it's quite steep, but your travel insurance is already included. Always, always, always travel with travel insurance or some kind of travel insurance, especially if you go abroad. And that is my other tip. Whether you take it on the card that you are carrying with you, or you purchase it separately, do carry travel insurance. Even if you're traveling within your own country, I would highly recommend. Number 7 is if you are planning to rent a car in the country you're going to, make sure that your driver license is valid. Ideally, I would recommend you take an international driving permit. And here in the US, you can take it, you can get it at selected AAA offices. From the time that you get it, it will be good for 1 year. You will always have to carry the driver license from your country, but do get an international one in case something happens and they don't find your license valid. At least you have that one. Next one, it refers to the airfare. I like to book my airfare about 3 months in advance, not more, not less. I think it's a good time to gauge whether you're actually going to be going or not if anything happens. Hotels, especially if you use apps like booking.com, you can book sometimes almost a year in advance, and you don't have to pay for them. Same thing with cars. But airfare, it's not that option. You do have to pay it. So I would recommend about 3 months is the ideal time frame. Number 9, I would recommend you take a variety of credit cards. Depending where you're going, you may want to take some cash. I don't necessarily take cash unless I'm going either to Asia, where cash is king. I mean, not really, but you would need it for public transport and some things here and there that do not accept credit cards. I also take it when I go to South America, to Argentina, for instance, because it's easier for the exchange, to get a better rate of exchange if you change money over there than the rate that a charge on your credit card would give you. Other than that, I use credit cards. Obviously, I have a budget, but I use credit cards. I would recommend take American Express if you have one, and then take Visa or MasterCard, because American Express, yes, it is kind of widely accepted, but some places don't. Visa, MasterCard, almost everyone who accepts a credit card in their business accepts a Visa or a MasterCard. But take 2 or 3 different ones, just in case, because sometimes cards block your charges because they think it's fraud, especially if you're abroad. So do not get into this trap of the credit card business and get, just take a few. Last but not least, on the day you are going, give yourself plenty of time to get to the airport to enjoy the experience. For me, travel, my vacation starts the moment I close the door of my house and get into the car that's taking me to the airport. And I enjoy all that. Airports, I just love airports, not just because I go to the lounges, but because they're just, you see a lot of people, you can see different things, eat different things. Maybe you can do some shopping, in the duty free, especially if you're going abroad. And it's just a relaxing time. So don't, make it something that's going to give you stress from the get-go. They advise at least be at the airport at least 3 hours before your flight if it's international, 2 if it's within the country. Me, I'm usually there about 4 hours before, so that I can do my checking of my bags. Then I go through security quickly, and then I just accommodate myself, and then I can go to the lounge, and it's just a pleasure. So these are my 10 travel tips for a smooth travel. I hope they are useful. Again, all links of relevance will be below. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe to my channel. Leave me any questions, comments below, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye.